Hey Explorers, I'm Robert.
And I'm Jessica.
With Exploring the Local Life, and today we wanted to talk to you about...
swimming with manatees. That's right, you heard that correctly. Swimming with manatees. Now that is not just something you can do. You can't just like pull up to any body of water in Florida and think you're going to be swimming with manatees. A, they're not found everywhere, and B, you're going to find yourself getting a ticket. At least.
Yeah. So there's generally two well-known places to see manatees. You're going to see Blue Spring on the St. Johns River. And then you're also going to see the Crystal River area in southwest Florida. So, your options are going to be limited, but there's only actually one place that it is sanctioned and allowed that you can respectfully go swim with manatees, and that is at...
Crystal River, Three Sisters, Hermosa Springs area.
Homosassa.
They go by... Did I say Hermosa again? I keep saying Hermosa.
She's thinking mimosas.
I guess I am thinking about mimosas.
Homosassa.
And in no way, shape, or form does this mean that you are like jumping into the water and like swimming after manatees or like tickling their arms or riding them or hugging them. There are very, very strict guidelines when going there to legally, respectfully engage with these beautiful, sweet creatures.
Wild animals still.
Wild
100%
animals.
Wild animals that are requiring your respect, keeping your distance, observing, and only then, if they approach you and decide to interact with you physically, can you reach out and maybe rub a belly. Maybe
Right.
They'll hang around for a few minutes for you to rub that belly, but you do not go after them. You don't go swimming underwater after them. You don't go swimming parallel to them. You don't say, ooh, I like that one, and swim after it.
You don't block them from trying to get to wherever they're getting because you're like, oh my gosh. Or if one's coming towards you like that, you might actually want to first off, you shouldn't really even be standing. You should be floating, but you should try to move out of their way as much as possible. So that they really have the opportunity. You can really tell whether they are then actually wanting to engage with you or you just happen to be kind of near them or blocking where they're trying to get to.
Yeah, it's all about them and being respectful for their needs. So like Jessica was saying, you want to be floating the entire time. So it's not unusual to take a noodle with you to help support your upper body, but you don't want to be standing in the water if it's shallow enough to do that because a couple reasons. Number one, you're going to kick up a lot of salt and sand, and other stuff in the water, causing murky visibility. And number two, you are now taking up a definite space where they could be traveling through. If you're floating on the surface, a manatee can swim under you. If you're standing, you are blocking and causing them to have to deviate. And if you're causing them to deviate from their desired natural activity, you are interfering, and that is wrong. So
Right.
It's all about the float.
Now, if you find yourself that you're out there because you are, like we're saying, floating, you're wearing a mask, you have a snorkel, if you feel like you need a moment, okay, like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of, because you might freak out a little bit because manatees are very, very large. In this particular setting, there are a lot of them. You're moving, they're moving, there's spring, there's a current that's pushing you. Since you're floating, you're not kicking. There's a lot going on around you that you don't really have a lot of control over. So if you're like, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful, most wonderful experience ever, but I'm freaking out, you can touch your feet down, plant them down, look around you, like put your mask in. Are you blocking anybody? If you feel like you are totally freaking out, I did go into that a little bit later, but I got to the point where I couldn't really float anymore. I was just like, oh my gosh, manatees everywhere, cool, I got to get out of the water now. I planted my feet down. I looked to see where Robert was. He was floating on a paddle boat. I got his attention. We went somewhere. I floated that way. After I had his attention, I said, I need to get out of the water. I'm fine, but I need to get out of the water now. He immediately paddled over, and I floated my way just like I floated my way into the water, just like I floated my way around the manatees, out of that situation, so I did not become a problem in the water, that I didn't accidentally, freak out close to a manatee, disrupt the beauty and natural environment I was in. So this was my very first time not only swimming with manatees or floating along with them, but it was my very first time in a wetsuit. You have to wear a wetsuit. Robert emphasized this for me.
Yeah.
Because
number one, the water is going to be between 68 and 72 degrees, which might be really nice when you're outside. In the water is trying to kill you with its nice, cool 72 degrees. So it's one of those things, you don't just go in a bathing suit. You want to prepare for something like this. When you're going to a spring to swim and have fun, you are thrashing about, you're having a good time, you're burning calories. When you're swimming with manatees, you are going into their environment. You are going to be moving very slowly, if at all, and just floating. And thermodynamics is your enemy. So that water is going to get into your wetsuit, and that wetsuit will serve to help keep you warm, but you are just getting colder and colder and colder and colder. So that wetsuit is going to be miles better than just going into the springs with a swimsuit, where you'll be in there for 5 minutes, and then you're out because you are turning into an ice cube. You're going to turn blue. So get that wetsuit, get a good mask, get a good snorkel, practice beforehand if you've never done it before. Jessica's great at swimming, but she hadn't used a snorkel before. But anyways, be ready before you go. Be prepared, and it's no joke. Have a wetsuit.
And even if you have snorkeled before, I had never done it before, but I was like, I'm just going to do this. The main thing that you need to keep in mind, especially if you've never done this before, or even if you snorkeled, whatever, you have to stay calm. So that whole time, like, I was just like, all right, cool. I'm in a wetsuit. My wetsuit's awesome. I have a mask. I have a snorkel. I know how to float. I know how to swim. I'm just going to stay calm. And I was just calm, cool, and collected. I didn't think about all the things that could go wrong. I didn't think of any of these things. I was just like, stay calm. Stay calm. Stay calm. You're not alone. You're good. Because you really need to really be mindful of your own mindset, where your mind is while you're there, and also you have to be aware of your body.
And one of the things is you might forget all these things because you're overwhelmed by how beautiful it all is. I mean, Florida's spring country, no matter where you are, if you're near a spring in Florida, it's wild, it's green, it's lush, it's beautiful. And there might be an alligator hanging out too, you never know. But that's the thing is, always be focused back on why you're there. You're there to interact with a wild animal in its environment. You don't want to do something that's going to get it more acclimated to humans already than a human in the water with it. So that's why we always keep saying that let the manatee, if it's going to interact with you. It comes to you. You don't go to it. Don't be cute about it. We all know what happens when somebody's all cute about it. You're not special. The manatee's special, not you. So if they come after your camera, move the camera away. You don't want them getting involved with cameras and human things that they will then be acclimated to. Because you know what happens. You read the news in Florida about Florida man or granny got eaten by an alligator because she fed the alligator some chicken. Same thing with bears. Don't feed the bears because you know what? They have to shoot the bear. But it ate grandma first. So don't interact with the manatee. They have no predators other than humans. So don't get them acclimated into a position that they will go after people to play with them or get a treat from them. It ends up getting them killed.
Yeah.
Respect the manatee. It's not about you. How might a manatee hurt you? Well, you know, at this time of year, it's time for them to get down and how. So they might come up against you and start rubbing up against you, and they might pin you against another manatee. Not a good thing. So you got to be aware of what's going on, that they are huge animals. They weigh in excess of 1,000 pounds. You don't weigh anywhere near that, and you don't know how to move in the water like they do. So whenever you're around them, don't get in a situation that you're just being crowded by manatees, because they could squish you and won't even know it. Yeah. Or they might start getting a little bit flippery with you, and you might get put in a position that you're underwater, and now you're like, oh my God, how do I get back to the surface? Again, they're not predating on you. They're not trying to hurt you. They're just sweet, lumbering animals wanting to get it on. In addition to all this, they have very poor eyesight. They can only really focus on things maybe 24 inches away from them. So when they're cruising at you, they really don't know what you are until they're that close. So be respectful of the manatee.
When you are going to swim with them, there's several different ways that you can do so. You can go with a boat, a professional guided group. In which case you could probably, flag down your guide and be like, I need to get out of the water. And they will probably help you to get to your boat. And then you can sit out and just hang out on the boat. If you kayak there on your own and then, dismount and start swimming in the water, you're going to have a plan for that. Once immediately you start feeling like, I don't know that I'm feeling that calm, or I'm kind of tired of floating, or kind of start heading towards your kayak. Start heading there, because that way you have time to get there. If you need to stop and rest, you can. And then you can get in your kayak, relax, and figure out if you're done for the day or if you want to get back in the water. But you don't want to find yourself in a position where you are far away from where you need to be, and you're kind of lost your cool. And that's not, like start flailing about. You shouldn't get to that point. But once you just start being like, this is awesome, I love this experience. However, now there's like 8 manatees here, and they're moving around a lot, and I'm tired.
And then you realize it's not 8 manatees, it's 80 manatees. Right.
And they're really big, and I'm starting to float, and the spring's bringing me over here, and my boat is over there. And
which puts more importance to, with any water sport, whether you're kayaking, diving, scuba diving, snorkeling, have a buddy. And always be looking out for your buddy, looking out for each other.
All right, so we talked about going in with a guide. We talked about kayaking and going in on your own. If you're not comfortable getting in the water with them, you can still see them. You could either kayak out to them and look at them from your kayak, or both at Crystal River and at Blue Spring, they have docks, boardwalks, where you can stand there and look over onto the water and see them.
It's amazing.
It's beautiful experience that way too. It's not lame. It really is a beautiful moving experience to even see them that way. So if you're like, there is no way I'm getting in the water with a manatee / are there alligators everywhere? They always are. It's Florida. There are alligators.
If there's a puddle,
everywhere.
there's an alligator.
So if that is not your comfort level, if you're that even the idea of that freaks you out, kayak and look at them, or go to the boardwalk. There's many different ways to experience that.
Now, this is a winter time event. In the summer, late spring, summer, early fall, you're not going to find manatees at Crystal River, really. You're not going to find them in Blue Spring because, they are here for the relatively warm waters, because manatees are very susceptible to cold temperatures. They are warm-blooded like you and I. They're not alligators. They're not fish. They are mammals, very closely related to the elephant of all things.
It was a really magnificent experience. I'm really happy that I was able to do it, that I just went for it without even having really any idea, other than I knew I wasn't supposed to touch them. And be respectful of them and mindful of them. But otherwise I had no idea, but I went for it, and it was a beautiful experience. I already went, I think, what was it, 2 weeks ago? 1 week ago? A week and a half ago. And I'm still reliving it. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still trying to figure out all right, when can I go again? And I have my wetsuit hanging, and I'm just staring at it every day, how soon can I put that on to get back in there and just experience that again? So it's definitely amazing experience, and if you have the opportunity, if you are able to do so, definitely recommend doing it. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Don't forget to check out exploringthelocallife.com. Hit the bell for notifications and subscriptions, and we will catch you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.